Hello everybody, welcome back to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Tonight we will go over the fight card for UFC Fight Night Brazil. I believe it's in Rio de Janeiro for November 4th, 2023. Almeida versus Lewis. Excuse the lateness of the podcast. It is Friday night. There's been a handful of times where I've gotten it out the night before. Today is one of those times. Busy week with Halloween and everything. Nevertheless, we'll go the cards from the prelims, from the first fights to the main event. So let's get started. I'm going to keep this actually really as quick as I can and short. So it'll be a shortened version. Maybe I won't go into detail as I do sometimes with some of the fighters. So let's start. First fight: Cauê Fernandes versus Mark Diakis. Cauê Fernandes, 5'9". I think his reach is about 72. I think he's 28 years old. I haven't got it written down here. Mark Diakis, 5'10", 73 in treat, 16 wins, 7 losses, 30 years old. Mark Diakis came in as a striker. Eventually realized he couldn't strike with the better opponents. Started wrestling, then wrestled and won a few fights. He's always on the verge of getting kicked out of the UFC. I think he's on the low end of talent, but definitely not at the bottom end. Cauê Fernandes, brand new grappler, has got some striking. He's dangerous in the first round, fades as the fight goes on. Mark Diakis, probably his best path to victory is wrestling, even though Fernandes is dangerous on the ground with his BJJ, but Diakis manages to stay safe a lot of the times when he's on the ground. This fight, it's in Brazil. Fernandes is Brazilian. If you see, when I show you the board, I have my favorites, and I've also marked down who's from Brazil and who's not, and going to have different variations of the betting. Nevertheless, slight lean towards Diakis. It's Cauê Fernandes' first fight in the UFC. I think Diakis will be able to go the full 3 rounds and win a really close, boring decision. Cauê Fernandes is going to be live for a KO or a sub or something in the first round. I think he's going to fade. Diakis is pretty tough. He's probably managed to hold on and win a decision. Nevertheless, we also got to take into account, well, if Fernandes takes the first round, will he take one more round? And how will the judges look at it now that we're in Brazil? And he is a Brazilian. So something else to look at. But nevertheless, Diakis will be the pick. Moving on. Eduardo Mora versus Montserrat Conruiz. Eduardo Mora, 5'6", 67 in treats, 9 wins, 0 losses, 29 years old. Montserrat Senera Ruiz, 5 foot tall, 61 in treats, 10 wins, 3 losses, 30 years old. Eduardo Mora, I've only seen one fight from her, and it was in, I think it was Dana White's Contender Series. She did really well, but she did well against an opponent who's actually 1 inch taller than this Ruiz, who's primarily a striker, and Mara is primarily on the ground, jiu-jitsu. We didn't really see any of her striking at all. She just basically took the person down, the girl down, and then it was a good takedown. The takedown was quick, well-timed. When she got on top, eventually I think she grounded and pounded her or submitted her or something like that in the first round. It was fast, but the girl she did fight, if you ever look deep into her record, even though she had a really good record, she fought a lot of nobodies. If you look at Eduardo Mora's record, she fights a lot of nobodies, but she seems like she's pretty talented. She's good on the ground. Going to Ruiz, I've always had her problems. She's too small for the division. She's tough. She's gritty. She can take a lot of punishment. She doesn't quit, but her best path to victory is a scarf hold, kind of like a headlock, throw somebody on the ground and punch them in the head. Unfortunately, even to her last fight, she's susceptible to BJJ, somebody with good BJJ who will take her back once she gets her in that hold. And that's what happened the last time she fought somebody who's good in BJJ and she got dominated. I expect the same thing from Mara. Ruiz is tailor-made for Mara to come out and have a good showing. So I think they set this fight up for that reason. Mara's going to be the pick. She's a heavy favorite. Not even worth betting. I think she's minus 725. It's ridiculous. First fight in the UFC, minus 725 favorite. I mean, unless she's in a super long parlay, I mean, there's just no money in it individually. Nevertheless, Mara's going to be the pick. Moving on. Oh, a few fight. I'm going through fights that actually canceled. Next one: Angela Hill versus Denise Gomes. Angela Hill, 5'3", 64.5-inch reach, 15 wins, 13 losses, 38 years old. Denise Gomes, 5'2", 63-inch reach, 8 wins, 2 losses, 23 years old. Big age difference. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. Angela Hill still looks pretty good, even though she might be slowing down a little bit. Angela Hill has lost a lot of fights, a lot of close decisions, fought everybody. Denise Gomes, she's 5'2". She's a little short for the division. They found Angela Hill, who's only an inch taller. Angela Hill is the best girl that Gomes has ever fought. Gomes is becoming to know this as this super powerful knockout artist. Here's my thing is, unless she did improve, but I also think that the caliber of opponent that they've given her is the lowest level, entry level UFC fighters, and she's looked fantastic. Now they're giving her Hill. Hill's very difficult to fight. She can fight on the ground. She's well rounded. She's tough. She is a little older. She is slowing down a little bit. Gomes has been improving, but I just don't see what everyone else sees in Gomes. Yeah, it's the moment I saw this fight, I thought I want to bet on Hill, and Hill is the underdog, surprisingly. But Gomes is in her own country. She is the Brazilian. Maybe the matchmakers are seeing something in Hill that I don't see. Maybe they want to put Gomes, in the rankings or up a little higher. Maybe they see Hill slipping. This is where we can give me one for the Brazilians. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't think Gomes is that good. I mean, she's okay, but I mean, who has she really fought? Who has she really beat? Looking at their opponents, and she lost to get Loma Lukbumi a couple of years ago, and Angela Hill beat her. And Angela Hill has a tendency to be in really close decisions, which is what worries me, is the close decisions in Brazil with Gomes. And Angela Hill doesn't have these devastating strikes that make big impacts with the judges, and she always tends to lose these decisions that she should win. In which case Gomes might come through with it. But nevertheless, Angela Hill will be the pick. I do have a Brazilian parlay where I'll show you on the board, and I got Gomes in it instead of Hill, so I kind of swapped them over. There's a few places where I'll show you on the board there that I would like. I'd like a couple of options just because of my theory of wherever the fight is, most of those fighters are going to win. They're going to be set up to win, and the judges are going to lean towards them. That doesn't mean they always win. I mean, fighters at the end of the day will have to fight and win it within reason, right? So, nevertheless, Angela Hill will be the pick. Moving on, Victor Petrino versus Modesta Bukauskas. Victor Petrino, 6'2", 77-inch reach, 9 wins, 0 losses, 26 years old. Modesta Bukauskas, 6'3", 78-inch reach, 15 wins, 5 losses, 29 years old. I made a lot of money betting against Bukauskas, and then I lost a lot of money betting against Bukauskas since he's come back. So to his credit, he left the UFC. He's actually fairly young, so he left the UFC, got better, came back, and he's done pretty good. He's a good striker. He's got fast hands. He's got a good right cross. And I watched him. He's a good counter striker too. So I mean, he's really improved his striking, and he's pretty quick, and he's a pretty big guy. So he's dangerous. Victor Petrino, he's gonna be just a slightly shorter, but he's gonna be the bigger guy in there, much more powerful. I don't think he's faster than Bukauskas, but he's got definitely more power. He takes a lot of punches, but he has been able to hold up well against it because he's very strong. He's got a good grappling game, good takedown game. He basically just muscles you to the ground, and once he's on top of you, he's hard to get off because he's so strong. So my take is, apart from Bukauskas getting some kind of crazy knockout, Petrino will be standing until he takes it to the ground. Once he takes Bukauskas to the ground, he's going to keep him there, and he's going to win a decision. That's my prediction for this fight. And I think they've also picked Bukauskas because he's on the lower end of this light heavyweight crew, just so Petrino can have a decent victory in Brazil. So Petrino's going to be the pick. Moving on, Elizio Zaleski dos Santos versus Renat Fakhretinov. Zaleski, let's just call him Zaleski because there's so many Dos Santoses. Zaleski, 5'11", 73-inch reach, 24 wins, 7 losses, 36 years old. He's at the peak. He's only going to get slower now. That's, at 36, that's when things start to go. For most fighters. Renat Fakhretinov, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach, 21 wins, 1 loss, 32 years old. He's at the peak. He's getting better. Fakhretinov is getting much better in his striking. He's improved with his cardio. He's training in the U.S. He's getting well rounded. He's going to be the bigger guy slightly. Dos Santos or Zaleski is going to be the more dynamic striker. He's got good takedown defense. I don't know if his takedown defense is going to hold up against Fakhretinov. I think he's got great takedowns, good wrestler. Sometimes he has a hard time controlling people. He might have a hard time controlling Zaleski just because Zaleski is pretty good at get up. He's got some BJJ. And Renat is going to continue to take him down though. And as the fight goes on, I think he's going to wear on Zaleski. I think he's going to win a grind of a decision where he's going to just keep taking him down and win rounds. Zaleski's only path to victory is knocking him out. It's not that he can't knock him out. He's very explosive. I just don't think he's as explosive as he used to be. Although the last time I bet against him, he surprised everybody and won. And he was against another Russian wrestler. But I think Renat is a much better wrestler, and I think he'll be able to take him to the ground instead of just holding him up against the fence. It is in Brazil. I mean, you just don't know. It could go split decision to Zaleski. But I think Renat's got this. He's definitely coming into his own, and from what I see, he's going to be making some moves closer to the top 10. Renat's going to be the pick. Moving on. Victor Hugh, that's a cancellation. Moving on. Elves Brenner versus Kanan Kruszewski. Both of them are from Brazil. Brenner was going to fight Esteban Rubovics. Fight got canceled. So now he's fighting a local guy. At first I thought, no problem, just pick the local Brenner. Because last minute for the local guy. And then I actually watched this guy. And I got to admit though, this guy's pretty good. Elves Brenner, 5'10", 72.5-inch reach, 15 wins, 3 losses, 26 years old. Kanan Kruszewski. What is he? Polish or Ukrainian? Obviously half, or moved to Brazil, immigrated. So Kanan Kruszewski is 5'9", 73-inch reach, 12 wins, 1 loss, 32 years old. I've seen fights when I was watching tape on him where it said he was 6 feet tall. So I don't know. That's 3-inch difference, 5'9" to 6 feet tall. I think he's somewhere in between there. And from what I'm hearing, people are saying that he's the bigger guy. So he's either 5'10" or 5'11". I don't think he's just, you're getting multiple different sources of information, legit sources that say he's different size. But he seems very powerful. Okay, we know Elves Brenner. I bet against Elves Brenner twice, and twice Elves Brenner won. So the guy's very durable, could take a lot of punishment, a lot of headshots, got a huge head on him, could take a lot of punishment. He's talented, he's powerful, he can go the full 3 rounds, he can get knocked down and recover, so he's got good cardio, he's good on the ground, but he likes to brawl. And this guy, now, Kanan, he likes to brawl too. And I think he slows down a little bit, but overall, I mean, I've seen him slow down depending on how much he goes out, and he tends to come out really hot and fast in the first round, and I think that's why he gets tired. But he's pretty good on the ground. He doesn't want to be on the ground. He's got some skills on the ground. I don't think Elvis Brenner will be able to take him to the ground. I think they're virtually very, very similar, but Kruszewski actually might be even at a higher level on the ground, but he likes to stand and bang, and I think him and Elvis Brenner are going to put on a show. Actually, I'm really looking forward to this fight. It's going to be a good fight. I mean, I'd like to say someone's going to get knocked out, but both these guys can take some punishment, so it's going to be a war. Elvsbrenner will be the pick because he's fought the UFC level of competition. Kanan is live, and they're both from Brazil, so the judging situation is out the window. But Kanan's very dangerous. And what I found out was this is not a 155 fight; it's a 165 catch weight, which definitely doesn't give me very much confidence to pick Brenner. He's at the second lowest confidence on my board. I mean, just because he's got the UFC experience. Otherwise, at 165, I mean, who knows how these guys are going to come in at 165? Who's going to have, at that weight, who's going to look better? 155, you see them cutting down and you see what they look like. But this is going to be totally different. So, Brenner's going to be the pick. Yeah, it's going to be a close fight. Good fight. Moving on to the main card. Ishmael Bunty, that one's cancelled. Rodolfo Vieira versus Armen Petrosyan. Rodolfo Vieira, 6 feet tall, 73-inch reach, 9 wins, 2 losses, 34 years old. Armen Petrosyan, 6'3", 71-inch reach, 9 wins, 2 losses, 32 years old. Both of them in their prime. They're opposites. This is a matchmaking genius, I guess. Rodolfo Vieira, he is really good at jiu-jitsu. BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he's really big for the division. Not tall, but very powerful and thick. He's had some question marks with his stamina. Maybe because of his training, or maybe because he has to cut so much weight to get to the middleweight limit. It's middleweight he's fighting, right? I believe so. Nevertheless. So he cuts a lot of weight. He's very built like a fire hydrant, like a big shit house. Excuse me. So his striking's improved. He fought Chris Curtis. He did well against Chris Curtis. I mean, you got to think is he's doing good against Chris Curtis with his jab because Chris Curtis is expecting him to shoot, and Chris Curtis is expecting to try stop that shot, or is it because he is really improved in his striking? I think it's both. He's definitely improved in his striking. He's got a decent jab now. Armen Petrosyan, he's going to be taller. Says 6'3". I don't think 6'3". Whenever I see him, he looks a little shorter than that. He's been improving his takedown defense. That's his one Achilles heel, and everyone knows, take this guy down. That's the way you're going to beat him, because he's a high volume striker, excellent kickboxer, a lot of kicks. Which might play into Vieira's hands because kicks tend to get caught and somebody might get taken down. I think Vieira is decent on top and submissions. I don't think he is as good with takedowns. So Armen Petrosyan has a tendency to get taken down easy, but he does get back up. But when he gets back up, he generally does it by exposing his back, which could be a problem with Vieira because that's how he gets a lot of his subs. So it's going to be a battle of, is Vieira going to be can take advantage of having Petrosyan on the ground, and in the scrambles of him getting up, can he take his back? Petrosyan has been good so far with that. He has only been controlled one time on the ground really badly, and that was against another guy who was fighting, which is Barolo, and Barolo couldn't submit him, but he definitely controlled him on the ground. And I think Barolo is probably better than Vieira with control on the ground, but not as good as submissions. And Barolo is also a better wrestler to take people to the ground. So it was a close fight with Barolo, I guess. I mean, to some degree, I think. But different fighters. I'm going to lean Petrosyan, and even though Vieira is a local guy, and if it comes down to the decision, he might lose. But he will be on my all Brazilian parlay. So as a backup, this is a pick'em fight, so it's -110, -110. I'm leaning for Armen Petrosyan. I think she's continually improving his takedown defense, and he's going to need it here. But if he can keep it on the ground, he's going to be able to outpoint Vieira. It'll be interesting to see how Vieira deals with the kicks. Is he going to be able to counter them? Is he going to be able to stop them? Is he going to be able to catch them? People are going back and forth on this fight. I'm going to pick with Petrosyan. Honestly, it's a coin flip fight. It is my least confident pick because that's how close this fight's going to be. Petrosian will be the pick. Next fight, Chao Barolo, which we just mentioned, versus Abus Magomedov. Chao Barolo, 5'10", 75-inch reach, 14 wins, 1 loss, 30 years old. Abus Magomedov, 6'2", 78-inch reach, 25 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 33 years old. Abus is a lot bigger. That's what gives me concern, is his range, and he is dangerous from range. And in his fight with Strickland, he definitely pounded Strickland with a lot of kicks and a lot of punches, especially a lot of kicks. And but he just faded as the fight went on. Chao Barolo is definitely good on the ground. I think Magomedov's okay on the ground, but I mean, Barolo's obviously, that's his strength. He's improving his strikes. He's very strong as well, but he's a little on the smaller side, even though, you know, he's really cut and he's bulky. He's like just shorter. So his reach is going to be a problem. But I just didn't see a lot of great things from Magomedov. I think if he looks like if he hits a lot of adversity, he fades. If he in the first round, he's going to be very dangerous. He's going to put it all out there. I think Barolo's got to withstand that first round. And I think if once Barolo gets him down once or twice, he's going to be able to really grind on him. And I think he's going to tap the gas tank of Magomedov. And I think after that, Barolo's going to win this fight. So the pick's going to be Barolo. I think he's got a good path to victory. Magomedov, he's a big question mark still. I don't think he's as good as everyone hyped him up to be. I think Barolo has been proving himself step by step to keep getting better and better competition. I mean, you'd think they put Magomedov in front of him because they probably think he can win in Brazil and hype Barolo up a little more. Nevertheless, Barolo is going to be the pick. Moving on, Rodrigo Nascimento versus Dontel Mays. Rodrigo Nascimento, 6'2", 80-inch reach, 11 wins, 1 loss, 30 years old. Dontel Mays, 6'6", 81-inch reach, 10 wins, 5 losses, 31 years old. Dontel Mays, a lot of physical attributes, really long, really tall, long reach. You know, and this is a rematch. So Dontel Mays has improved with his striking. Dontel Mays has improved with his takedowns and his takedown defense. Rodrigo Nascimento, I'd imagine, has improved in his striking because he's primarily a ground guy. And that's how he beat Dontel Mays last time. I think he choked him out. Dontel Mays doesn't impress me, but he's always dangerous. Such a big guy, throwing punches. If he catches you, you know, you're going night-night. Nascimento is strong. I think he can throw faster punches, but I think Dontel Mays takes a really good punch, and I think Nascimento doesn't take as good a punch. Nevertheless, you got to wonder, why are they redoing this fight? Maybe they just want another Brazilian heavyweight to win in Brazil. So I can't see this fight ending up that much differently. I think Nascimento's going to win this. Dontel's always got the heavyweight puncher's chance to upset Nascimento, and I've got it on the board where I kind of separated them. It's like that could be the parlay buster right there because of Dontel Mays being long and strong and dangerous. And somewhere in the interactions, he could maybe tag Nascimento. But Nascimento will be the pick on this one. I think he's going to end up in the same way as the last fight. Moving on, Gabriel Bonfim versus Nicolas Dalby. Gabriel Bonfim, 6'1", 72.5-inch reach, 15 wins, 0 losses, 26 years old. Nicolas Dalby, 5'11", 74.5-inch reach, 21 wins, 4 losses, 38 years old. 12-year age difference. Dalby has looked just as good as he's looked. At some point, I imagine he's going to slow down. Maybe it's this fight. He's a little shorter. He's going to be a little smaller. But, you know, Nicolas Dalby is generally the stronger guy in there. Everyone he fights, you can tell he's the stronger guy in there. He manipulates the clinch positions. And when he's on the ground, he can get back up. When he's on top, he's hard to get off. But he's also he's got good footwork, gauges the distance very well, always striking, always kicking, always getting points. So he's a very smart and he's a very good veteran, well-rounded. He's on a little bit of a win streak. Gabriel Bonfim, he's the new guy they're hyping up. He's the phenom. I bet against him in his first fight with Lezez. I couldn't believe the what is that? The guillotine choke he got on Lazez was amazing in midair while tumbling transition gets the choke. Um, Anyways, the guy's fantastic. I mean, he's pulling guillotine and he's getting chokes. And normally everyone says, "Don't pull guillotine; you're going to end up on the bottom," and etc. But this guy, it seems to work for him. But he hasn't fought anybody as good as Nicholas Dalby. And here's the thing: is as the fight goes on, how's he going to react to adversity after the first round if he doesn't get Dalby out, because he gets everyone out in the first round? Suppose Dalby is able to fight him off and use his veteran savvy and his strength, because he is strong and he's got good takedown defense and submission defense. How's Gabriel going to look? I mean, Gabriel Bonfim is a high confidence pick for me, but this is one of those parlay buster situations, because after the first round, how are things going to look? We've never seen Bonfim in a decision. So yeah, this is a red flag for me. And he's at minus 650, and Dalby's at plus 450. I mean, Bonfim's unbettable. He's unproven. He's unbettable. Dalby, if anything, you can take a shot at the dog odds of plus 450. And seeing what happens if Bonfim doesn't get him out of there in the first round, or in the second round. How does he react? How does he physically react to getting hit for 2 rounds and 3 rounds? But I mean, you'd think that when they gave him Dalby, I mean, they want to give Bonfim a rank, right? I think Dalby's like number 15 or something like that. So, I mean, you'd think that it's set up for him, but you never know. Like I said, they got to go in there and fight, and they got to execute this. And how is he going to react as the fight goes on? Or is he going to come in, just blow through him and finish him off in the first round? And which is what everyone's expecting. I'd imagine he's going to be able to do it. But stranger things have happened, because at the end of the day, he's not a proven commodity. We haven't seen him in this situation. We don't know where the elevator stops. So Bonfim's going to be the pick. He's on my probably the most confident pick, but he's also flagged as a possible parlay buster, because this is the kind of guy that things might not work out, and we will find or see a different side to him once he gets pushed by Dalby. We shall see. Moving on to the main event, Jailton Almeida versus Derek Lewis. Jailton Almeida, 6'3", 79-inch reach, 19 wins, 2 losses, 32 years old. Derek Lewis, 6'3", 79-inch reach, 27 wins, 11 losses, 38 years old. Okay, Derek Lewis is at the tail end of his career. He still looks great. He's still powerful. He's still dangerous. I don't think he's got bad cardio. He seems like his cardio is okay. Jailton Almeida, he's the new phenom. They're expecting him to go at some point be the champ. He's a smaller heavyweight. He could be even fighting at light heavyweight, because he's in that in-between zone. But he's taking advantage of his speed and his jiu-jitsu against the heavyweights who are slower and not as good at jiu-jitsu. So where does this train end for Almeida? Does he go all the way? Does he win? Here's the thing. Everybody thinks he's going to win. He should win. Lewis has shown that he can get taken down. He can get submitted. He can get controlled on the ground. He can lose that way. But he's also shown that he's got one-punch knockout power. So Jailton Almeida is going to be the pick. Let's cut to the chase. This guy is really talented, good on the ground. Derek Lewis is live for the knockout. The only way Derek Lewis is winning is by knocking Almeida out. Can he knock him out? Yes. He knocked out Curtis Blades with the first shot Curtis Blades took. He knocked out, and Curtis Blades is a really good wrestler. And he was the one who was supposed to actually fight Almeida, and Lewis has stepped in because of an injury. And then Lewis just recently knocked out another Brazilian ground guy. What's his name? And I bet on this. I bet Lewis to knock him out too. It's just the last guy. I can't remember his name. But anyways, it just happened just a couple months ago. So, and Lewis came out, flying kneed him, and pounded him out. So, this could happen. So don't be surprised. And that doesn't mean Almeida's bad, but he can get caught, you know? Like Blades was should have walked through Lewis, should have beat Lewis, but he got caught. You know, run that fight again and he wins that fight. Maybe, right? but generally, generally if you keep running that fight. So as usual in my parlays, like I mean with the main events, what I've been doing just because of experiences that I've had, usually bad experiences. I have parlays that run, and I actually switched. I have double parlays. I'll run one parlay and I'll have one fighter, and I'll run the other parlay and I'll have the other fighter, just so I can watch the main event, and not have to worry about it, and care about the upset. That's how I do it. You can do it however you like. I'm going to switch to the board and we'll go over the board real quick. You see it? How's that board looking? Good. We got that a little more. All right. So it's kind of blurry, eh? What's going on here? Hello. What's going on? Oh, I lost my. There it is. And I'm bringing it a little closer. Maybe. Let's see if that's better. There we go. It's my award for my kids. The Cardboard YouTube award. So I'm up to cardboard. Let me bring it a little closer. It's the glare that seems to be throwing everything off. There you go. That's my award back. All right, not financial advice. All right, bet only what you can afford to lose. This is my parlays from most confident to least confident. This is how I like to set it up. You can take what you need from this assessment and use it within your own parlays. You can use the stuff and mix and match. I've got it split up according to where I would probably cut it off with degrees of confidence. And of course, you know what, if you disagree with it, you know, mix and match, like I said, use your own assessment and add to it. Most confident, Bomb Theme, I put Parlay Buster. This is an unproven commodity. He looks fantastic. He should dominate. Stranger things have happened. Dalby is such a big underdog. You know, I'm going to have possibly a parlay where I've actually got a small bet where I've used these guys and I probably switch out Dalby just as a backup. If you notice these lines, these green lines means they're locals, they're Brazilians. And these top guys on these are my favorites. These are the guys I'm picking to win. But if I have an arrow here with a green marker, that means they're fighting against the Brazilian, and we got to keep that in mind. Especially if we're going to make a Brazilian parlay card. So that's why it's in there. And the guys with the brown felt are the underdogs. So nevertheless, moving on. Fakradimov is going to be my pick. Second most confident, Zaleski is from Brazil, but he's going to be my pick. Petrino's my pick. He is from Brazil, which is why he's got the green line. Barol's going to be the next most confident pick, green line. He's a local. So we got out of these first four, 1, 2, 3, 4 locals. I'm picking him as the non-local to win. I mean, you can, if you wanted to have a local card and put Zaleski in it, you can do that too. I mean, it's up to everyone's choice. I just don't think Zaleski's going to win. So if I'm going to have a local Brazilian card, it won't be including him because, I don't know, I just can't see him winning. But as we get further down here, the locals could easily win. I mean, just because it's less confidence, closer fights. Again, moving on to here, Nascimento versus Mays. I put Parlay Buster. This is a heavyweight fight. You never know what can happen. But Nascimento will be the pick. He is the local guy. He is the favorite. Moving on, Mora. Minus 725. That's, I mean, I've kind of got her separated in a separate column. We've never seen her in like the UFC. She's brand new. She's minus 725. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure she's going to win. She is the local. But first fight in the UFC, minus 725. Wow. You know, unbettable. Especially if you take these and you want to bet individually, which is fine. And I do that as well. This especially is unbettable. You know, it just, there's no reward. So, you know, in a parlay, maybe. But yeah, so depending how you want to structure it. Diakis, I've picked him to win. Fernandez, he's a local. He's in green. He's actually an underdog. Now we're getting to the less confident picks. I mean, this is close. If you wanted to have a Brazilian card, maybe, you know, not have the Diakis in it. Moving on, Hill. Brown line. She is the underdog. I'm picking her for the upset. Green lettering here. Gomes is the local. She's minus 135. Moving on, Brenner. I got him really low confidence because we're fighting at 165. I don't have the other fellow here, Krzyzewski. I could put him here, but he's from Brazil as well. So I'm picking Brenner. You could go either way, but the other guy's from Brazil as well. I should have put him here, but nevertheless, I didn't, because if you're gonna go for the parlay for the Brazilians, I mean, they're both Brazilian. So I mean, you could have one, and you can have one guy in each one. I don't know. So nevertheless, I didn't put him on there. Least confident, Petrosian. I mean, it's a pick 'em fight. I got the line here because he is technically the underdog. They're both technically the underdog because it's a pick 'em. Vieira's in green because he is the local, and we got to keep that in mind if you wanted to make a Brazilian heavy fight card parlay. So nevertheless, it's a pick 'em. It could go either way. I mean, how you want to set it up, what you agree with, you can put it however you like. I got a 50-50 Almieda, even though Almieda is my dominant pick. As usual, for the main event, I pick both. So and I'm going to structure a parlay with Almieda in it. I'll probably do the duplicate parlay with Lewis in it. Especially ever since, I used to do that more, but ever since the Adesanya and Strickland fight, which the one time I didn't do it, and I had every single fight correct, except for Adesanya. Yeah. Go back and watch the video. All right, let's move this back. And I'll move the camera. Let me get by here. Put my award back. All right, we're good. All right. Well, there you go. There we have it. I think it's going to be earlier tomorrow because it's in Brazil. I think. You got to double check on that. Next week we will have the picks for another pay-per-view, and it's what are the two light heavyweight guys? What's that guy? The Czech guy, and who else? I can't remember who's gonna fight. But anyways, pay-per-view next week. Try get it out earlier. That's gonna be a big one. It's always fun to do the pay-per-views. I get a lot more views if people are more interested in those fights anyways. It's a lot of fun. All the diehards are interested every week, like myself. Nevertheless, thank you very much for joining me. Please hit the like button. Helps with the algorithm. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Also helps with the algorithm. And share this video if you can. That'd be great. That would help out with everything. Otherwise, good luck. We will see you in the recap video next week. Thank you for joining me.